Well, let's start with the questions. Well, who here love watching movies? Yay! I think it's safe to say that we've all watched at least one movie in our entire life. Well, I love watching movies too, and I think it's a good way, perfect way to relax and enjoy. One of my favorite movies is Parasite. If you haven't heard of the name Parasite, you might think of a movie that talks about maybe science fiction film about a global disease that is threatening humanity, or maybe a medical drama about a group of doctors trying to save the world from a global pandemic. But neither of them. The movie is in fact about social relationships, the gaps between the rich and the poor, and on a deeper level, social inequality. Let me give you another example, Joker. If you haven't watched the movie and you don't even know who Joker is, you might think of something funny, maybe a character that will give you a good laugh. But the movie Joker is in fact definitely not child-friendly at all, and probably not the kind of movie that you'll have on a family movie night. So, if you think about what just happened in your mind, it's very interesting. Because we label things based on their names only. So, what exactly is labeling? Labeling is when you give something a quick name, a quick tag, based on very limited information. And before we even have time to fully understand what it all means, we have already categorized it and give it a name, give it a tag. Well, this can be good sometimes because it saves our brains times and efforts and energy to do other more important things. But most importantly, we don't just label things, we label ourselves too. Let me tell you an example. If you keep hearing something continuously, well, over time, you will start believing in it, that it's true, even though it might not be true. If someone keeps telling you, oh, that's impossible, you can't do that, you're just not good enough, maybe you'll start believing in it, even though it might not be true. But labeling does not happen only with negative words. Because sometimes positive labels can create pressure if we believe that we must always live up perfectly to that. And before anything else, let me introduce myself. Good morning, everybody. My name is Linh Chi, and today I want to be showing you how to remove completely these labels, but instead, how did I redefine them and help me to grow into the type of person that I wanted to be. Well, I believe that we all have a few words to describe ourselves. For me, if you look at my profile, my portfolio, it might look a little bit messy. Well, some line might say that I've joined tech competitions, Python and C++. Another line might say that I've been in the student council for 3 consecutive years. Another line might show my language proficiency, English and Chinese debating skills. And another line might say I've joined business case competitions and AI. And probably another line say I'm a TEDx speaker, obviously. So it looks like the list goes on and it feels like I'm always prepared and ready for the upcoming activities. So that's how people see me as well. They keep telling me, oh, you're impressive because you can do that much work. You're so active. You're always ready. At first I take it as a compliment, but slowly it turns into a label, something attached to me, that people see me, and it's become how I see myself as well. So now, in order to live up with that expectations of being productive, I write down a lot of things on my to-do list every single day. Sometimes even 20 to 30 items every single day is on my to-do list. But if you have ever flipped through my notebook, you completely notice that there has never been a single day that I've completed all of them, like not even once. And also there has not been a day that I complete even just half of them or 1/4 of them, never. So at this point, I start to feel overwhelmed. There's so many things for me to do. I don't know where to start. I feel overwhelmed, stressful, and now instead of feeling motivated, I feel like demotivated, too much things. It was like I was falling behind my own expectations. Even though nobody forcing me to do this, I'm still pushing myself. It was like I was falling short. And that was when I realized that something really needs to change. Well, today, I still ask myself, I don't ask myself, like, did I finish every single things today? Did I tick every single box today? But I ask another questions instead. Did I move forward today? Because I realized that productivity is not about completing everything, but it's about moving forward and making meaningful progress. So, as I begin to see productivity differently, I see something about me that people attached me differently as well. Being responsible. Well, I'm pretty confident to say that I'm a very responsible person. And my definitions of responsible has been very, very simple. It is to ensure that every task is complete on time, efficiently. But not only my task, my team task as well. Even though it might sometimes mean that I will have to work more and sometimes overwork myself. Well, let's say this is the clearest in one of my first projects as a student council members, organizing the school prom. So as always, I devoted 100% of my efforts from planning to budgeting, promoting the events, every single thing to the executions day. I just feel like it's the right thing to do. And not only I want to prove my capability and also to help the events going smoothly, but it's also I want to live up to the expectations of being responsible. So I did everything on my own, almost on my own. And the prom, unfortunately, it wasn't as planned because on that day, the heat was unbearable and the dance floor was empty because it was too hot, what was out of our expectations. So I was very hopeless, one of the worst feelings in the world. I sat there, and when nobody was with me, I was all alone, I cried because I didn't know what to do. Because me and our team has worked this much to have this event, but it was not going at what we have planned. So I cried, but before the wave of disappointment was about to crash on me, I was so lucky to have my student council members. They were great. They come and comforting me and told me it's okay. They're letting me know that I'm not alone. We're doing this all together. So at that moment, they pulled everyone out and trying to encourage them to have some fun, to dance. And at that moment, the word responsibly no longer weighed all alone on me, but it shared on everybody. And watching it all happen, I realized something. Well, maybe the word responsibility doesn't mean that I have to do every single thing alone and carrying the weight on my own, but instead it is to share with the responsibility and let every single body contributes their parts. Because when I let people contribute their parts, I build something more than just myself. I create a community. So, as I begin to see responsibility another time differently, the way that I work with people, the way I support my team, how I work in projects, it's also different. And the words that I see differently, the last label, leadership. Before becoming a leader, I've always admired one, and I've always wanted to become one as well. It feels like they feel very confident. It feels like the leader always know what to do next, how to lead their people. It's like default. But I realized it's not that easy when I become the president of the student council for the first time in this school year. Because when we did one of the community projects called Mosutean, where me and our team, we deliver goods and basic amenities to an orphanage of more than 50 children. It was just, I realized something very strange that not everybody was equally motivated. Well, actually, some of them were just genuinely excited to be a part of the projects, but some of them actually just participate because it's what they have to do. So I think of solutions, how to encourage people and how to make this super successful.
Well, my answer was straightforward. It was to give out recognitions, certificates, and just rewards. I realized that those incentives actually work because people in meetings, the meetings were livelier and more hands were up when tasks are assigned, and people are just generally more excited to contribute. So actually for a long time, throughout that process, I thought I figured out a good way to motivate people. But it turns out I didn't. It was all wrong. Because in the reflections part after the projects, instead of talking about how did this experience helps to boost their profile, how did the certificates or recognitions and rewards help, they talk about the experience and how did they want to contribute more, to give out more to the community, instead of just talking about the rewards. And talking about their smiles, the memories, that the moments that I have had with kids, and it makes me more happier than ever. And that was when I realized that, well, maybe what I thought was to lead was not true. It was not pushing people or just giving them rewards, but it was about to give them a purpose. Because actually, giving rewards which is like adding fuels to a machine. But what keeps people going, even without rewards, is purpose. Because when people see that their work matters, it makes an impact. They started to do it just genuinely excited. They wanted to do it, not because they do it because they have to, but they just wanted to do so. So the next time or the next time that you have the group projects, the first conversations that you should have with your team, maybe not about what is this project about, what is the timeline, what is the budgets for this project, but instead, let's ask our teammates, what is the purpose of this project? Who are we doing this for? And what impacts can be made, can be created from this project? So today, these three words, productive, responsible, and leadership, are still part of me. It's a shade who I am. But I see it differently, and it's helped me a lot because I realized that the challenge only appears when I let these words become like fixed definitions of who I think and must become. That's not true, because I realized that it's me, it is us who use these little labels to make this like reminders of reminding who we wanted to be, the type of person that we want to become and we want to grow into. Thank you.